Welcome to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast, a place for you to listen and explore all things surrounding sex positivity. I'm your host, Rachel Main, sex therapist and educator, intimacy coach, awesome wife to my husband, Danny, board of directors member and team leader with Pure Romance, and best of all, a work-from-home dog mom to my favorite pups, Bane and Tater. After starting my Pure Romance business, I quickly learned how much sexuality education was lacking within my community and how much shame was placed on things like fantasies, masturbation, and sexual dysfunctions. I'm on a mission to make this world a more sex-positive place, and with this podcast, I hope to reach thousands of people. I'll bring real-life experiences to the surface and normalize them by offering a non-judgmental view. If you can get down with that, then tune in every Monday and let's change this fucking world. Hey everyone, I am super pumped for this week's episode. Second time's a charm, right? I have Amanda Fisher on with me today. I'm so excited for you to hear from her. Amanda is a pelvic floor physical therapist who I came across on the wonderful world of Instagram. And Amanda and I actually recorded an episode together a few days ago, and that is when I found that my microphone was not working anymore. So that was super fun. So our entire badass episode has to be re-recorded. So that's what we're here for today. And again, I reached out to her. I was like, please, do you have the time to redo this? Because this episode is literally fire. And Amanda, as I said, is a pelvic floor physical therapist, and she speaks about this topic of pelvic floor issues and pelvic floor dysfunction because she herself has experienced issues in this area as well. And so not only is she a pelvic floor physical therapist, she's also a mom of 3 boys and a wife, and she also owns Pelvic Floor Dysfunction for the last 10 years. Incredible. So without further ado, I present you Amanda Fisher. Okay, so Amanda, tell us, how did you get into this field? Did you always know that you wanted to work with pelvises?
No, I got into this field. I was in grad school for physical therapy, thinking I was going to be a sports medicine physical therapist. I wanted to work with sports teams. I did that through college at Mizzou for my undergrad. And I just thought I'd be working with a professional team, hopefully, and then ended up in grad school developing pain with sex and started peeing my pants at the age of 21 while training for half marathons and marathons at that time. And thinking I was, fit for that age or strong, and wondering why I was peeing my pants if, as you go through physical therapy school, you're learning how muscles are working. And it just didn't make sense to me that if these muscles were strong and working, why was I having dysfunction at such a young age? And same with sexual intercourse, wondering, everything in magazines at that time with like Cosmopolitan was like all the rainbows and butterflies with sex and how wonderful and orgasmic it was. And I was not experiencing it. So I remember like looking at issues in the grocery store, wondering like, okay, is this one going to talk about pain with sex? Nope. Okay, close it up, put it back. I'm not buying it. And then realizing like each issue, as the months went by, none of them were talking about pain with sex. So eventually I made an appointment with my gynecologist, and they had just said, suck it up. Basically, they didn't tell me suck it up, but basically have 2 glasses of wine or a glass of wine, relax, and things will get better. And that wasn't the case. I would just end up getting tipsy and passing out, and then sex never happened. So this went on for quite some time. I would say over a year before I came in contact with what that pelvic floor was within physical therapy. So at a student conference, sitting in on a course called the G Spot, which was a class offered at 8 a.m. in the morning. So myself and one other classmate went. We got to be the lucky ducks that sat in that class and learned so much about the pelvic floor. But while sitting there, realizing like, oh, that's me. Oh, that patient that you're talking about would be me too. And, just light bulbs were going off. So we came out of this class at 9 a.m. or 9:30. And I was just like, oh yes, this is what I want to do, but I will look like the crazy person if I go into this, is what I felt like, because I had never heard of pelvic floor physical therapy. And this was probably 2008 at the time. So started looking into it more while in physical therapy school. We would, like any college school, you would have breaks at Christmas and spring break and a few summer breaks. So we would start, myself and my classmate that sat in on that course with me, started taking specialty classes within pelvic floor physical therapy. So further education to learn about the muscles, because we got very small education on that while in school. And yeah, so came out, graduated, joined an orthopedic practice and opened their women's health program at the time. So this was 2011 now, and started seeing pelvic floor clients then. So it was like 25% of my caseload, and I was working up to 75% of my caseload. And then eventually jumped in full force 100%, and I am treating patients completely different than we did back in 08, 09, 2011, where we thought, hey, when you pee your pants, the muscles are weak, so let's do Kegels. And now we know, hey, a lot of us athletes who are peeing our pants, our pelvic floor is probably too tight. And if it's too tight, hey, that might be why we're having pain with sex, hip pain. So let's not do Kegels. There's way more to do than Kegels. But training people or teaching people that now, like that's our big thing, I think, is to let them know that we are more than just Kegels. So that part is really fun, because there's so many puzzle pieces, and I love it, coming down to like nutrition or hip joints or pain with sex or prolapse or peeing your pants. There's so much that involves it, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
No, that was great. And so I had posted in the Owning Your Sexual Self Facebook group, and I asked them, like, who's heard of a pelvic floor physical therapist or a pelvic floor specialist? And the majority of people, like you're saying, they haven't heard of it. But then I know it's like they think of it as like, oh, so I'm gonna go to this person, they're gonna teach me how to Kegel, and it's so much more than that. So like during your daily practice, who are you seeing? What are the types of patients that you're seeing, or like what are they coming in for?
Yeah. So being back from COVID right now, we're seeing a lot of our pregnant and postpartum patients, which is incredible. So anybody who's had their babies, maybe they've torn vaginally, not torn at all, had an episiotomy or a C-section, we're helping them restore or rehab their bodies after childbirth, because it is just like any other injury to a muscle. We want to retrain the tissue, make it stronger, make it coordinate with the rest of the body. Our pregnancy population, we are gearing them up for the marathon event of childbirth. So really helping with overall strength and how to carry baby or car seat after they have the baby, or if they already have toddlers at home, what to do and prevent. So it's more preventative, hopefully, is what our plan is with pregnancy, but some people end up with pain. My love for wanting to open the clinic was more of the pain with intercourse, because I had dealt with that and have continued to deal with that over the last, what year? Okay, 12 years now. Golly, that's a long time. So over the last 12 years dealing with pain with sex, and it changing especially after having kids. So I've had C-sections, and you would think, okay, you didn't deliver a baby vaginally, why are you having pain with sex? But it still is so much going on in the pelvic floor, even with C-section mamas, that I definitely had my worst pain with sex after our second kiddo, and realizing we should still be seeing C-section moms and still checking out their pelvic floor too, and still asking them questions about pain with intercourse, because there's so much more going on that I think we just didn't know, again, like a decade ago. So that's a big pain with sex will always have a spot in my heart for those ladies and men that come in with that. Incontinence. So peeing your pants. So dealing anywhere from our high intensity females that are doing like the CrossFit or HIIT type workouts that are peeing their pants, all the way down to people who are coughing, sneezing, laughing, and peeing their pants. I love because some of those are like the most simplest changes that light bulbs click easily for those patients. And sometimes it does take a little bit longer. And then pelvic organ prolapse, which is where maybe the pelvic floor muscles are not either strong enough or coordinated to hold up your organs inside your pelvis. So if the front wall, which is supposed to hold up your bladder, if there's dysfunction in that muscle tissue there, they may feel the bladder in their vagina. So it may feel like a used tampon type of pressure down there. Mm-hmm. It may happen after a prolonged sitting, after activity. It really varies. It may even happen for postpartum moms after they're up all night and not getting sleep, so that tissue is not going to be working as well. And that can have to happen with the uterus as well, or the rectum, that either any of those organs can actually come into the vaginal opening by pushing in on the pelvic floor muscles, mm-hmm. and they can feel that. So a wide range of things. Oh, and tailbone pain, low back pain, hip pain. But overall, what we're seeing is a good mix of male and female. So our male population might be more around like 35-40% of our caseload, and on our female population being a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. We're really trying to touch in on our male population out here too, because they do have pelvic floors the same as females. It's just a little bit different on the external side. And then of course having the prostate and not the uterus. So mm-hmm. things are just a little bit different, but they're still pelvic floor muscles, and they can still be treated in pretty much the same way.
Yeah. So when patients come to you, is it like a one and done? Is it more of a lengthy process? What does that typically look like?
Typically, it's more than one visit. Occasionally, we get our people that are in and out in one and doing great. But typically, it's a little bit more than that, especially with our chronic patients or patients that have been dealing with chronic pelvic pain, for instance, for a longer period of time. Sometimes it might last more into like an 8-week period. Maybe we're seeing them once a week. Maybe we're seeing them once every other week or once every couple of weeks. For some of our women and men that have been dealing with the pelvic pain for a little bit longer, it may even be, months down the road that we're still seeing them, but I'm not seeing them weekly. Maybe it's like check-ins once a month. Like, how are things going with exercises and nutrition and progressing things with them, so that we're not seeing them on a weekly basis, but they're really targeting everything at home and with an individualized plan for them, and then coming back in periodically. Mm-hmm. So for some, it's a little bit longer, but at that same time, they're still seeing their sex therapist or their doctor, and we're all working together as a team, which is awesome. I love that piece of it.
Yeah. Just got your support squad going on, and that's incredible.
Yes. Everybody's got lots of different, pearls that work best for the patient. So it's neat to see, be like, oh, I didn't think about that, but that's their field and they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. So I know for our listeners, it's mostly the female population. So are there any tips that you have for women that are wanting to strengthen their pelvic floor, just different daily habits that we can incorporate?
Yeah. So if, let's say first, like if they're dealing with pain with sex, work on the down training. Because for me, I'm a type A personality. I'm a go. I rarely sit down and give myself self-care. And we hear like self-care Sundays, and we need to be more slow down for ourselves. And that is so true for the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor reacts to emotion and it reacts to negativity. And there's a lot of that in the world right now. So anything that we can help do to kind of calm down, like diaphragmatic breathing, meditation, really focusing on what we're feeling in our body and learning to open it up and let it go, I think is key. Stretching is huge. So I love child's pose because it puts those pelvic floor muscles in a good relaxed position. And you can also stretch out the shoulder and back in that as well. I will even have females do, I don't really call them Kegels. I call them blueberries. So you would this would kind of give them awareness of the pelvic floor. So maybe they're in the child's pose position and they would try to pick up a blueberry with their vagina or try to suck a smoothie through a straw down there. So that's going to activate the front part of that pelvic floor, the pelvic floor muscles that maybe are more around the clitoris and the urethra and the vaginal opening, that we want those guys to kind of pick up. And then you focus on putting that blueberry all the way back down. That's the key piece there, or letting that smoothie go all the way back down. And so patients can start to feel like, okay, what does my pelvic floor feel like now? I'm going to do a couple of blueberries, maybe 3, maybe 5, let it go all the way back down. And what does it feel like then? Do I feel less tension? Do I feel more relaxed in that area? And that would be something too that they can then implement during intercourse in different positions. Mm-hmm. So maybe with penetration, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe they would apply the 3 to 5 blueberries, the pickup, put down, and then see how insertion feels. Maybe it feels a little bit better. And if it does, then they can continue to do those throughout the day to kind of get them in a relaxed position, or the stretches more frequently throughout the day, some hip mobility stuff to help lengthen and decrease pain. On strengthening, you can do the same blueberries, but in different positions, leaning forward, sitting up tall, moving from sit to stand, laying on your back with pillows underneath your butt. Like I never say do them in one position, because you're not in one position all day. So you definitely want to check things out in all different positions. So just variety matters and mobility matters. So making sure you're keeping on top of that with any strengthening and stretching type of routine.
Yeah. It's funny that your first recommendation is around self-care, and basically if your emotions are not right, now your pelvic floor might not be right either. And it's yes. So crazy and mind-blowing to me just how much our bodies are just so connected. And then the last time, because this is the second time we recorded this, you also mentioned that was my biggest takeaway was squatting to pick things up. And yes. Because we often, like you said, we bend down, and that puts so much pressure on your back, and that was, yeah.
Yes. And just implementing in the deep squatting to pick up dirty laundry around your house, or getting the dishes out of the dishwasher, is so big, because those pelvic floor muscles will stretch as you squat down. So they will lengthen, which is a natural lengthening that we all do. Our kids do it when they're little. You'll start to look at toddlers and see that they're doing it naturally. But as we get older, we tend to shift away and we start to bend over at the waist. So then as we're bending at the waist, those pelvic floor muscles are tightening. You go to stand back up, they're tightening to bring and fold your body back up into standing. So it is, I think, just an easy way to implement that in, where you don't have to sit down and think, okay, I need 5 minutes of stretching. Where can I put that in throughout the day? But if you sprinkle it with different activities around the house, it's like, oh, now the tissue's getting blood flow and circulation, which is huge for tissue. And it's getting natural stretching. It's making it have to work with the glutes again and working with the body as a whole. I mean, that's just an easy fix right there. And in the beginning, you might feel like, oh, I can feel some tenderness in my hips or my knee joints, but hopefully that'll start to change as you do it more frequently. Great exercise.
Yeah. And you've mentioned a couple times now stretching, so that means both physically stretching, but also tips on this, of that vaginal tissue stretching. I remember seeing on your Insta story one day this very cool, like, twisty looking thing. Can you have to tell us about that? And I know you have a code, so please share that.
So the pelvic wand is made by Intimate Rose, and it's S-shaped. And it scares people because it's so long, but it really only inserts up to the first curve, which would be as long as your second knuckle is on your pointer finger. It's not very long at all. That's all that you would actually insert in vaginally to stretch the tissue. And it'll help lengthen pelvic floor muscles as well as hip muscles if you find a tender spot inside the vaginal opening. So this would be like for pain with intercourse, is when we might use this, that you can lengthen that tissue, find a trigger point, and actually use the pelvic wand to massage that tissue out, or you can hold on to it for a little bit. But it's really to promote the lengthening. What I love about their product is it's all silicone based, where the old stuff back in 2008 was plastic and cold and felt like I was trying to stretch my vag with a speculum, and it was awful. I hated it because you couldn't relax. I was constantly tensing up, so it was defeating the purpose of taking the time to try to stretch my tissue. With the wand, you can even feel it on the inner portion of your thumb and finger, the webbing there. And it feels like skin. So it kind of tricks your body into thinking that it's skin on skin, or down there like natural tissue, which is great. So people will use that. There are two different options. One is a regular wand, which people could use in the shower to stretch, or in the bathtub. The other one is a vibrating wand, and it's about double the price, but totally worth it, because you can use it on the tissue to inhibit muscle contraction, a spasm, or after you're done, you can use it for clitoral stimulation, what I think is huge to bring that natural blood flow there to that tissue. So we don't recommend using the vibrating wand in the water, because it's being charged and you don't want to ruin the vibration if you're going to spend the money on it. But definitely having it for multiple exercises, we could say multiple activities, would be huge. So with Intimate Rose, they are actually manufactured they have a warehouse out here in Kansas City. So our patients get them very quickly. And I love that they're in the Midwest, so then they can kind of ship out and get to everybody at the same time, a lot faster. But they've given us a code for $5 off for clients, and it is Amanda, AMANDA 4, and it gets them $5 off, or basically saves them the shipping cost, which is huge too. Because
Awesome.
I mean, who doesn't love a sale?
Yeah.
We like to save our pennies.
And free shipping is always a benefit.
Yes. Yes.
So good.
Yeah,
so good.
it's a definite.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that thing, I was like, I need one of these. And I even last time I was like, I still need one, and I need to tell Pure Romance, the company that I work for, like we have to add this to our product line because it's very beneficial.
Yeah, we've been saying for months, like we need to have them in the office here for wholesale, and we just need to do it because when people, I mean, we talk about it so often that we could just hand them out to our clients, and that would be so much nicer than being like, okay, make sure you go home and order this up, because then they come back usually the next week. Oh, I forgot to do that. And you're like, okay, make sure you order it. And sometimes we go weeks without it, and we could be making so many gains to have it, right there at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like foam rolling the tissue down there. Okay.
Oh,
so you can think like we foam roll or we massage out other muscles in the body. Like that's what we're doing to the pelvic floor. There's just multiple muscles down there, and that's an easy way to target that tissue and help create lengthening.
Yeah. And a great analogy, because almost everybody has heard of foam rolling. So
yeah, people foam roll their body all the time.
Yeah, very cool.
Another way.
So if someone is any like final words of wisdom for anybody that's listening, if they're kind of on the fence about seeking out treatment.
Say you're nervous, because some people are nervous about sticking things up their vagina, you could also grab a pickleball, a tennis ball, a bouncy ball, and you could sit on that and even massage the tissue while you're sitting in a chair on a hard stool, and that can also help promote mobility, and you may find a trigger point while doing that too. But don't feel like you're the only person that's dealing with issues with your sex life or with your pelvic floor. Like, I mean, gosh, there's so many people in this world. There's got to be a zillion people just like you having the same issue, because I know when I was going through it 12 years ago, that was my main thing is, am I the only one? Because no one's talking about it. And now we're in a decade later where people are starting to talk about it more, and people are starting to hear pelvic PTs more, that it's really exciting time that we're owning our own sex life and sexual self. And I think that's huge that this day's finally here. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. And
because then we don't feel alone anymore, and you're like, I have support, which is great, and I can take care of myself. So there's hope for healing.
Yeah. And if you mention this to your doctor and they tell you that try having 2 glasses of wine, that's not the correct answer, and you deserve better answers than that. And knowing now that there are pelvic floor physical therapists out there, these are they know the pelvic area, so these are the people that you want to get in contact with for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone were to be looking for a specialist in their area, is there a website or anything for them to go to?
Yes. pelvicguru.com is a nice little website. And then hermanandwallace.com is another good one. We also have one through our American Physical Therapy Association.org. But you could have really great therapists on there that maybe are owning their own clinics that just aren't listed in that profile. So I usually go with the Herman and Wallace or Pelvic Guru. But then Google, guys, you could Google pelvic floor physical therapist, Kansas City, Missouri, and someone would pop up in your town. And then it's just kind of hearsay trying to find who's the best one. But that would probably be the easiest to find who's in your area. And then asking around, asking your doctor. Always be your own advocate and stand up for yourself. So if it's something like, I might be interested in it, just do it.
Great. And of course, I have to plug in your social media, because that's how I met you, is through the wonderful world of Instagram. And literally from your stories, this girl, you guys, she is always posting about these things that just make you feel normal when it comes to all things basically involving your vagina and pelvic floor. So definitely a great person to follow. So how do they find you on Instagram or whatever other social media?
Yeah, Instagram, we are at empower.your.pelvis. Facebook, it's Amanda Fisher, FISHER, pelvic floor physical therapist. But yeah, we're always on social, and we answer our own emails, answer their own messages. So it's a lot of fun. I love connecting. I love the world of social media. It takes time, but it's golly, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. Like you can talk to anybody anywhere and hear what their story is and hear maybe what it's like in their area. And, might just be a nice little positive sounding board for them and give them a little hope. And I think that's huge.
Yes.
It's really credible how it can be used.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. I appreciate you. And definitely, if listeners are out there and you have connected with Amanda, definitely check her out because she is a great resource to have and definitely a friendly face to look at as well. So I had to just say that. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening today and helping me change the world by spreading sex positive awareness. If you love the show, please subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave a review for others to see. If you want to see me on the daily, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Rachel Main, or check out my Linktree website in the show's bio for direct links to all my pages. You can also shop my Pure Romance store or become a Pure Romance business owner yourself by visiting pureromance.com/Rachel UC. Thank you again so much. Until next week, go out there and own your sexual self.